Ska, 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 ska. Choo, 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 choo. TWP popcorn. Ska, 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 ska. TWP popcorn. Ska, ska, ska. Pepper tingles. Ska, 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 ska. Professional paranormal research. Ska, 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 ska. Jonica, 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 Jonica. Ska, 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 ska. It's sunshine, sunshine. Welcome, welcome. More Kropka, more Kropka, more Kropka. Pindar tangles. I'm here, off and on, but I'm here. It's Eric Garcia. My broska, Eric Garcia. Mr. Samuel, welcome to the show. What's true? What's true? They're coming in, share it out. Tingle, tingle, tingle. Y'all got your earbuds in? Push them in deep. Ska, 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 ska. We got a special one planned for you tonight. I'd like to welcome you to the House of Thrillers. I'm Scully, the author that reads to you. Tonight, we're going to be reading the grand finale of Bonnie and Clyde, starring Scully and Izzy Paw. Izzy Paw. Scully.
I think it's the way he calls for me.
Hey, darling. Everybody say hey to Izzy. AKA
Hey, John.
Tingle Pop.
Tingle Popsicle.
There's A-Jot and there's Kathleen.
Kathleen.
Welcome. Phil got 316.
Did you say sex or six?
316. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Johnny Small Pepper.
I'm trying to push the earbuds in deep.
It's Pindar Tinkles. I'm hanging around like a strange old ant.
You see what Pindar said?
I know.
Stop it, Pindar. Stop, okay?
Well, here we are. A month later or so. Gosh, seemed like we started this a while back, doesn't it?
Almost last year. Talking about it anyway. Mr. Samuel.
Hey, Mr. Samuel, how you doing?
Mr. Sam's in the house. Mr. Samuel's a good iron holder.
Yeah, so we knee deep in it now with Bonnie and Clyde. I guess it's getting ready to get good.
Yeah, well, we're knee deep in it.
What did she say?
Oh, God. Huh?
What's that smell? You kids turn that music down.
No, PTSD. Put that shit down.
That sounds good.
You want to turn it down?
No. I think it sounds fine. Music. I'm just talking about this. That's Betty Strudel for me.
Would you call me? Did you call me Betty Strudel?
I'm talking about Jonica's raspberry strudel.
Oh.
I think raspberry strudel for you.
She's all fancy, schmancy.
Burnt flowers falling.
They're still falling.
Burnt flowers falling.
Still falling.
Hey, player.
Oh, Mr. Samuel with the blue suit on.
Tingle. Make an arm. Yeah, pick me up roast beef.
Just hold on, Jonica. God, look, your chat is so demanding, Scully. You ought to kick her out. I don't know where you come up with these people like her. Kathleen, you need to put a muzzle on Janica because she's starting stuff. Hi, Jack Star.
Genevieve. Welcome.
I would do that too, the way he does it, but I don't want to show him up. Ungame Miller.
Miller tingle. Hey, sunshine.
Jonica, CTFD. Good one, Gatlin.
Calm fuck down. You put that shit down or either calm fuck down. All right.
Either one. I'm getting ready to pick the shit up.
Pick one or the other.
Hey, what about pick the shit up?
Because if I got to pick, you gonna do both.
Oh God, I gotta crash. Hold on.
Sandra Pink. Paranormal Tangles. Welcome to the show. All set, Jonica? That's Strudel. Hey, Tammy. Rebel Scanners. Manic Mouth 420.
Evening, Sandra.
Panic Mouth. Scully, Scully, Scully. Say, motherfucker. My fucking roast beef.
Hey, 420.
I'm almost ready.
I'll tell you something real quick. The girls were talking about something about chicken, always eating chicken or fish. And one of my daughter's nicknames that my son gave her was Beef instead of her name. And he'd always say, "Where's the beef? Where's the beef?" And just as they were talking about it, she said, "Where's the beef?" A commercial came up on my TV. It was Squares the Beef with Wendy's. I said, man, AI is really working now. It's really, reading everything, putting up Squares the Beef. I said, "Where's the beef?" You ready now?
Almost.
Man, you take forever.
I take so long,
Oh,
I know.
where's the beebs? No, I didn't say beebs.
Beepska.
No, beef.
Hey, babe.
Leave beebs out of it. Not fighting those birds tonight. And for the hello, Naughty Nikki. Oh, for all of you who don't know, today is my birthday. I have to tell everybody because
Happy
this dude
birthday.
doesn't even. Yeah, he doesn't even remember.
Scuss.
No, it's because you fell.
Scuss.
Say happy birthday, Ska.
Happy birthska. Happy birthska. Happy ska day.
Ska Day.
Happy ska day.
Hey, Rebel. Thank you.
Ska.
Weeder.
Naughty Nikki.
It's just, it looks
Naughty
sunshine.
Nikki. Hey, play.
Nez, happy birthday, Nez. Is it today Nez's birthday too? It's cool. You're fired, Catlin
Who
said.
said that? Who said
Burnt
that
flowers.
Nez's birthday?
Burnt flowers? He thinks I'm Nez. It's Izzy. Izzy,
It's Nezzy Pop.
Oh, God. Going on with that pop shit. I told you to give me too many relatives out here.
Weekend RV. Welcome.
Thank you, Mark. Steve-O, you're fired. You need to go back to Arby's work, dude.
Rebel Canners.
Thank you, RV. That's okay. That's okay, Burnt Flowers. I think it says Bonnie up here, so you could have called me Bonnie. Sunshine Pop. Oh, sunshine.
I think I'm gonna go back into the intro in case we repurpose this stream later. So get your script ready. I'd like to welcome you. I'd like to welcome you to the House of Thrillers. I'm Scully, the author that reads to you. Tonight, we're going to be reading the conclusion of Bonnie and Clyde. So buckle your seatbelts. It's quite the ride. And we'll see you on the other side. Narrated by Scully and Izzy Pop. We're at the exterior ring of firs at night. It's a wide field in the country. This is Dexter, Iowa. It's quiet. We see in a long shot that takes in everything that this is a meadow surrounded by a ring of trees, a dense forest that circles them. The meadow, however, is large. The two cars drive into the middle of the field, headlights on. They stop and the barrow gang gets out. They are in horrible shape. We can finally have a look at them. Half dressed in their pajamas, bloody, dirty, and tatters. Those that can stagger out do so, others are carried. A far shot of all this. We move in closer to them. We see Clyde and CW lay Buck down on the ground. Clyde begins to administer to his wounds as best as he can, mostly just wiping him off. Buck is semi-conscious. All are in a semi-daze. Blanche falls to her knees, still clutching her eyes. She is totally hysterical.
Oh, God, please help us. Dear Father in heaven, get us out of this, and Buck will never do another bad thing in his life.
Bonnie walks over to the group, looking at Buck. CW goes over to her. It's a two-shot of Bonnie and CW. He ain't got a chance. Half his head blown off. Camera pulls back to take in Blanche.
My eyes. God, I think I'm blind. Light turns so bad.
Bonnie walks over to the car and comes back with the sunglasses Buck had given Blanche. Moving her out of the glare, she helps Blanche put them on. Bonnie now has an arm around Blanche, and Blanche shivers into Bonnie. Gracefully, Bonnie is a little repelled by Blanche, but comforts her out of genuine feeling for her.
Please get us to a doctor. Tell Clyde to get us to a doctor. Die here. Here, hon.
Bonnie looks silently up to Clyde. Clyde is looking dumbly down at his mangled brother.
Clyde, please get us to a doctor.
Though Blanche cannot see it, Clyde has knelt down to the side of Buck, taking Buck's hand, and with his other hand has begun smoothing Buck's hair back away from the wound.
He's your brother. Clyde will not and cannot hear Blanche. Oh, God. Buck can't be moved now, hon.
Blanche's answer to this hysterical sobbing, burying herself into Bonnie, mumbling half-coherent, muffled prayers between the sobs. Clyde. Right here, boy. I believe I lost my shoes. Maybe the dog hit them.
Clyde has begun to cry a little. Continues to smooth back Buck's hair with ritualistic regularity. Wide angle, night, camera pulls away, way back to the wide shot of the entire field, showing the group in the center of the darkness, lit by the headlight. Match dissolve into early dawn. Camera still on the wide shot. The field is lighter, though the trees still loom blackly around it. The two cars, one almost a shattered wreck, the other bright and shiny and new, are parked in the center. The sky is light, but the trees cast a dark shadow on the field. The gang is just sitting around. Blanche weeping next to Buck, CW sitting on the running board of the car, staring. Bonnie standing and smoking. Clyde still with Buck. All is quiet. Exterior, woods, day. From the edge of the woods, a man in a white shirt emerges from behind a tree. The camera swings abruptly to get him. He calls out to the gang.
Surrender.
It is a total surprise. Bonnie, Clyde, and CW all grab their guns and fire several shots. They are not firing the big guns now, but the pistols. The man lingers there for a moment. He looks strange, white, luminous, like an apparition, and then he vanishes into the woods. Silence, long enough to make you think it was perhaps an illusion. Then there is a volley of gunfire, a noise so large to be almost as an impossible sound, coming from the woods, all around, everywhere.
A ring of little white puffs of smoke emerge from the woods. From every tree, a puff of smoke. The camera pans in a circle. Behind every tree is a man with a gun. There are at least 150 people out there. Peace officers, farmers with hunting rifles, kids with squirrel guns. Everyone who wanted to come along and catch Bonnie and Clyde. Their number is so large because this time they want no possibility of the gang making what seemed by them supernatural escapes. From this point on, the sound of guns is unnaturally muffled on the soundtrack. You hardly hear them at all. It's like a dream. Without a word, all of the gang, including the half-dead Buck, making his final effort, scramble for the nearest car. They run throughout this battle, crouched, like animals. Their only thought to get away, to escape. To fight it out would be ludicrous. From the moment the barrow started motion, there is shooting again from the edge of the woods. We see them scrambling toward the car in an extreme long shot surrounded by the ring of smoke. We cut to the interior of the car, all of them inside. Clyde is at the wheel.
Exterior car. Medium, long shot of the car moving. The soundtrack goes to complete silence. We see the car looking for an avenue of escape. It veers towards a tree. A man steps out from behind the tree and fires. The car jerks and veers toward another tree. Again, a man steps out and fires, and so on. The car performs its eccentric dance, all in utter silence. No sound of the motor, nothing. The film should have the feeling of slow motion as the car swerves and loops along the edge of the woods. Not once do any of the barrows fire back. Another man steps out and aims.
A close-up of Clyde at the wheel, shotgun in the arm. He grabs his arm in pain, loses control of the wheel as we cut to the exterior of the car. Out of control. It smashes into a tree stump. The picture stops, freezes for 3 beats. We hold the image at the moment of crash. Pieces of metal crumpling and flying into the air, suspended there by the stop pin. We cut to the interior of the car.
Sound partly up again, but never at its realistic volume. From inside the smashed car, we peer out the window across the field and see the other car. The thought strikes the audience at the same time it strikes the gang. They must be to that car. Medium shot of the second car, sitting in the field, shining in the sun. The lawmen also realize what must be done. Cut off this escape. Though Bonnie, Clyde, and the others are heading toward it, they suddenly train all their fire on the car rather than the gang. The car fills the frame of the screen. Bullets begin to hit it. It starts to quiver under the impact. For the minute, we see the car die in front of our eyes. We see the beautiful machine fall into pieces, windows smashed, tires torn apart, bodies riddled. The death of the car is as painful to watch as the willful death of a human being. The execution is paced deliberately to show the ritualistic tempo of the destruction.
The exterior of the woods. We pull back way back, slightly above everything to reveal the entire field. Bonnie, Clyde, and CW are scrambling toward the edge of the woods. In the center, Buck and Blanche have taken cover behind a fallen log. Police begin to emerge from the woods. Camera zooms rapidly in with them toward Buck. Blanche is screaming.
Don't kill him! Don't kill him! He's dying!
Buck is making a last feeble attempt. The zoom continues past Buck until it comes tight on his hand. A lawman's foot steps on his hand. Buck falls over. He dies. Blanche screams.
Don't die, Daddy. Don't die.
She goes berserk. 5 men and hardly a teenager grab her and hold her as she writhes and cries. She's still wearing the sunglasses. We cut to the exterior of the woods and the stream, Bonnie, Clyde, CW, and the day. They've reached the edge of the woods. They get in the pines, come finally to a deep stream, and jump in and start to cross, running awkwardly in chest-deep water. They're halfway across when the police appear on the bank and behind them shooting. We close up on Bonnie. She's struggling through the water. A bullet hits her in the shoulder. We must see this bullet clearly. We must see it go in her flesh so that we can feel it.
Tight close-up of Bonnie's face as she screams. It is the first time she has been hurt, and the scream is pure animal pain. She cries out. Exterior, stream, and cornfield. Day. Clyde, who has almost reached the other side, comes back and gets her. He drags her out of the water and into a cornfield that starts growing on the opposite bank. CW helping. He half carries, half runs with her into the cornfield. As the field gets deeper and thicker, they stop for a second.
Saw a farm up ahead. We gotta get a car.
He starts to give over the wounded Bonnie to CW. Baby, no. But Clyde has not heard this last. Working on pure adrenaline now, he struggles onward. Camera tilts up slightly so we can see Clyde as he essays his way toward a farmhouse with a car in the distance. After a few moments, he disappears, and we can hear only the cracking of stalks as that sound, too, diminishes. Full shot cornfield day silence. Close. CW and Bonnie, obviously sometime later, they both lie prostrate in the field listening. CW licks his lips.
Maybe.
They wait for another long moment, picking up only the tiniest sounds. Oh no.
What?
The most locked roof. I can't die without Clyde. I just can't.
CW looks at her as if she's gone crazy. After another moment, the corn begins to tremble. We hear the off-screen sound of an approaching car, with CW and the day tentatively lifting his head up to clear the corn stalks. With him, we see the car looming larger, bearing down on us, splitting the corn stalks. The car finally comes to a stop a few feet in front of CW. Bonnie's on her feet. Clyde tumbles out of the car practically before it stopped, sweeping Bonnie into him. For a moment, both are in their knees a few feet from the running board of the car, simply holding on to each other and not moving. Come on, come on, come on! The abrupt cut to the interior of the car about a half hour later. They've gotten away, but are still escaping. CW is driving. He's bare-chested. Clyde is beside him in front, his arm bleeding. He falls in and out of consciousness. Bonnie's stretched out in the back. Her shoulder's been bandaged with CW's shirt. She's unconscious. The
Interior
interior.
car.
Clyde comes half awake and looks over at CW. Head out, CW. I'm going home. My daddy's fine.
Exterior road with campsite the same evening. CW is driving down the road, hell for leather. Nearing a campsite where there are about 6 Okie cars and a pickup trucks all loaded down, with a number of poor families seated around a campfire cooking. CW jams on the brakes. He gets out, looking totally exhausted. Reaction shot, the faces of the Okies looking at this sudden presence in their midst. Back to CW.
Y'all spare me a little water?
Exterior campsite, full shot. One man, the leader of the group, dips a cup of water and approaches CW suspiciously. He comes close enough to make CW reach out for the water, but withholds it from him.
Who's you, boy? Name's Moss.
This seems to be enough for the man, who gives him the water, as CW gulps it down. The man begins to circle the car, peering into it suspiciously. Suddenly, he starts and his eyes wide open.
It's Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow.
He stands there, struck dumb, staring. Those of the others who have heard him begin to come over. Without a word, they move quietly to the car and stare in. Interior car. Bonnie is out in the back seat. Clyde is semi-conscious in the front seat. He looks up through half-closed eyes. Exterior car. We see a woman pour a bowl of soup at the campfire and bring it to CW. He accepts it. A man rolls a cigarette and lights it. Then, very gingerly, as if afraid to touch him, he reaches through the window and places it in Clyde's lips. It hangs there. Clyde, unable to drag on it or remove it. Children peer through the back window. CW finishes his cup of soup. He hands it and the cup of water back to the woman in the crowd. Quietly moving together, the Okies step back. CW walks up to the driver's seat, gets in and shuts the door. He starts up the car. The people push a bit closer for a last look. Clyde, unable to do more, nods his head in barely perceptive gesture by way of saying thank you to the other people. The cigarette is still dangling from his lips. The car moves off. A young boy pulls on his father's shirt. Who was that,
Who
Paul?
was it, Paul? That was Bonnie and Clyde, bank robbers.
A woman nearby smiles sweetly.
We dissolve to the exterior of the Moss farm, middle of the night. The car pulls up outside the slightly ramshackle farm of the Malcolm Moss, CW's father, in Arcadia, Louisiana. It sits for a moment in the dark. Then CW honks the horn. A few seconds pass. Porch light comes on. Old man Moss comes out in his pajamas and peers into the darkness. He is a fat man with gray hair. Who's there? Daddy? Who's there? It's CW's Clarence. Clarence! She runs down the steps, down the path to his son. They greet each other, hugging for a second, looking at each other. God, it's good to see you, boy. He holds CW at arm's length to study him, and suddenly he scowls at something he sees by the light of the porch. What's that on your chest? Huh? A tattoo. I'm in trouble. I'll tell you about it later. My friends are hurt. Help me get them in. Malcolm goes to the car and looks inside for a moment. He walks back to CW. Jesus! What happened to them? You in trouble, son? Yeah, that's Clyde Barrow, Bonnie Parker. Been shot, Pa. Help me get him inside. We gotta help him. They go to the car and drag the unconscious Bonnie out and begin carrying her up to the house. Why'd you get yourself marked up? Tattoo? What in the hell made you do a damn fool thing like that? They reach the house. Mom and Pa, open the door.
Interior Sheriff's Office in Dexter, day. Although the scene begins with a full screen close-up of a newspaper clipping with a photo, it is just a blurry gray, crowded scene of Blanche's capture. Really impossible to make anybody out of the crowd. Camera stays on photo as we hear voice over of two men talking, a sheriff and his deputy.
I was in the bunch that took her. You see here? Can you make me out? Here I am. See here, right behind Joey Point here. Sure enough, Billy. Is that your head there?
Camera pulls away. Billy, a young deputy, cold, intense, humorless, and square, carefully folds up the clipping and puts it in his wallet.
Still can't figure out how we let them other two get away. It seems that nobody can get them somehow. Yeah, well, maybe this boy would be the one to do it. This Hammer guy. Well, if he can do it, Sheriff, ain't nobody but the whole U.S. Army can do it. You hear he quits the Rangers on account of Texas got the women governor. Said he wouldn't work under no women. Yeah, that's something all right. Say, how many he shot anyway in his day? 65, say. Son of a sea cook.
The door opens. We see full shot, then fast close-up. Frank Hammer. It should be a complete shock to the audience. This is the man kidnapped by the gang earlier and partially destroyed by Bonnie. Hammer is dressed in his ranger outfit and hat, and again he has that quality of sinister frenzy beneath his calm manner. His attitude toward these lawmen is sheer condescension, or whatever. Friendly, only out of convention, really superior and contemptuous of lesser workers in his field.
Excuse me. Am I in the right place? Is this Sheriff Smoot?
Pete and Billy jump up the chairs and walk over to Hammer, hands extended. They're quite impressed by meeting in the flesh.
Frank Hammer. I'm sure pleased to meet you. Hammer.
Exterior moss formed. Close shot newspaper day. A coil of rope snaps into and through the paper, splitting it, revealing CW's startled face. Clyde strides porch angrily, snapping the rope. Bonnie and Malcolm are seated along with CW. Though Bonnie has her arm supported by a sling and Clyde has his shoulder bandaged, and is evident by Clyde's heady indignation and Bonnie's attentiveness that both are well on their way to recovery.
Fled? What do you mean fled? How in the name of God could leave my brother to die when he was already dead when I left him? He was shot too many pieces to pick off the ground. Fled. What they know? The papers or the police.
Suddenly he moves upon Malcolm with enormous intent, as if pounding to point home to one relative stranger among them. He will justify it all. Malcolm momentarily flinches, then listens with intense deference.
Why, while y'all was lying around here near dead, they had us holding up the Grand Prairie National Bank. They hung that one on just for luck, I guess.
Clyde shakes his head, still thinking this over. Abruptly to Bonnie, with deadly seriousness.
Tell you what, as soon as we get well, we gonna take that bank.
He breaks into a wicked grin, but then reels, catching himself on the porch railing. He's obviously dizzy from exertion and anger. Bonnie starts, then sees Clyde is in control.
Woo, boy. They don't know nothing, do they, shit?
You did all you could, hun. Nobody could have done more. CW has been studying hard on the torn paper. Background suddenly.
Hey, how come I'm always called the unidentified suspect?
Root shot, porch. CW has trouble with his last phrase. Bonnie laughs. This picks up Clyde's spirits once more.
You just think your lucky stars that's all you are. So long as they don't have your last name, you're home safe. Mr. Barrow's looking out for your interests, boy. Well, hey, Pa, how you like having a couple of big deals staying with you? Ain't nothing something for me. Well, now, you've been real nice to us, and tell you what, let's pay you $40 for your hospitality. What do you say? No. I don't want your money. I'm just pleased to have your company. Any friend of my boys. Hey, Pa, let's have some supper. I'm hungry. Yeah, okay, Clarence. You're welcome here now. You know that.
Interior, Moss house. They go into the house. Camera goes with them. As soon as they are out of earshot from Bonnie and Clyde, Malcolm turns on CW, displaying an entirely different demeanor from the one he presented outside.
You look like trash, boy. Marked up like that. Cheap trash. Bonnie says it looks good. Bonnie, what she know? She just cheap trash herself. Look what they done to you. You don't even name in the paper. Just pictures on your skin by Bonnie and Clyde. Why, they couple kids. Daddy, I'm just glad your mind lied to see that thing.
CW peeks at it, peering down at his chest, trying to bring the bluebirds into focus, puzzled.
I don't see what's so bad about it.
Interior hospital. Shot of the room. Seated in a soft chair, looking directly at us, is Blanche Sparrow. Her eyes are completely covered with a white bandage. She wears a hospital gown. The room is white and bright. Medium shot. Hammer in the doorway. The nurse leaves. He reaches in his pocket and pulls out a white handkerchief. He puts it over his mouth to disguise his voice, afraid she will remember it from the kidnap. Quietly, almost on tiptoes, Hammer walks over to Blanche. He gets inches away from her face. She still doesn't know why he is there.
Blanche, girl.
She starts to her feet, then adjusts to his presence. She is a bit panicked. Blanche is now a defeated human being. Her voice and manner bespeak great weariness, sorrow, still, and a touch of her old, high-strung hysteria. But most of all, that is gone now, like everything else that was really vital in her life. What? What? Who is it?
You know your husband's dead.
I know.
You're going to prison.
I know it.
Where's the rest of them?
I don't know.
Where's the rest of them?
I just don't know. I don't know.
How'd you get in with them?
I didn't mean to. I didn't. Buck said we was just going to visit. He wouldn't be doing no robbing, no stealing. And then we went to Joplin, and all of a sudden they started shooting, and we run off. God, I was scared. And then it was run all the time, and I wanted to go. I begged to go, but Clyde and Bonnie and
CW here.
C.W. Miles.
We fade out, fade out, fade out, and fade into the exterior of the car on the Moss farm, a dirt path near the barn. It's pouring rain, middle of the afternoon. Bonnie and Clyde are inside the car sitting. They have lived so much in cars that they tend to spend much of their time in it rather than in a room. There they are themselves. Bonnie's in the back seat, legs wrapped in a plaid blanket, writing poetry. She looks like Elizabeth Barrett Browning, with one essential difference. Her arm is in a sling and she's wearing bandages on the shoulder. Sorry. Clyde is in the front seat reading the newspaper. He is also partially bandaged. On the dashboard is a box of ginger snaps, which he eats while he reads. They look domestic. Want a ginger snap, Bonnie?
No, But thanks anyway, Clyde. It's real nice here, just the two of us like that, like this.
Uh-huh. Look here, remember this? He holds up the paper. There's one of the photos from the motel. The one showing Bonnie smoking. She looks up at it with mild interest.
Yeah, at the motel.
You sure don't resemble that no more. Close up of Bonnie, she doesn't. She has become totally fragile, the essence of herself. She is writing on a pad. What you writing this time?
I'm writing a poem about us. I'm writing our story.
Oh, you are? Let's hear it. If it's good, I'll mail it into the law and I'll be printed in all the papers again.
Just let me finish this line.
She does so. Clyde munches a cookie.
Okay, here it is.
And close up of Bonnie. She reads intensely. At the beginning of this montage, the camera remains on her face. Behind her, we see the rain on the window.
The story of Bonnie and Clyde. You've heard the story of Jesse James, of how he lived and died. If you're still in need of something to read, here's the story of Bonnie and Clyde. Now, Bonnie and Clyde are the Barrow Gang. I'm sure you all have read how they rob and steal, and those who squill are usually found dying or dead. They call them cold-hearted killers. They say they are heartless and mean. But I say this with pride that I once knew Clyde. He was honest and upright and clean. But the laws fooled around and kept hawking him down and locking him into a cell. Till he said to me, I'll never be free, so I'll meet a few of them in hell. The road was dimly lighted. There were no highway signs to guide. But they made up their minds if all roads were blind, they wouldn't give up till the day they died.
We cut to the interior of the police station. The manuscript is lying on the police blotter. Hammer picks it up and continues reading it. He reads it in a halting way. The road gets dimmer and dimmer. Sometimes you can hardly see. But it's fight man to man and do all you can, for they know they can never be free. From heartbreak, some people have suffered. From weariness, some people have died. But take it all in all, our troubles are small till we get like Bonnie and Clyde. Close up of a newspaper page. Poem is printed all the way down the length of one column. On the second track, Bonnie's voice picks up the recitation.
If a policeman is killed in Dallas and they have no clue or guide, if they can't find a fiend, they just wipe their slate clean and hang it on Bonnie and Clyde.
The interior of the car, close up of Bonnie in the day. It's sunny, and we see it through the car window. She continues reading, but now she reads it directly from the newspaper.
If they try to act like citizens and rent them a nice little flat, about the third night they're invited to fight by sub-guns rat-a-tat-tat. Someday they'll go down together. They'll bury them side by side. To few, it'll be great. To few, it'll be great. To the law, a relief. But it's death for Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie finishes the poem. She has an expectant and somewhat self-satisfied look. Close up of Clyde. Eyes wide, his mouth open. Face shows surprise and delight. He's on the verge of a giant laugh. Damn, that's me. Bonnie's startled and delighted by his response. And that poem, all starting to come out now. His realization that he had made it, that he's the stuff of legend, that he's an important figure. Sub-guns, rat-a-tat-tat, right in the paper. Close up of Bonnie, she's laughing too, with a great feeling of joy. Two-shot Bonnie and Clyde. It's Clyde. Jesse James. You hear about old Jesse, now you gonna hear about old Clyde.
He puffs up with air and explodes like a steam valve. He grabs Bonnie and chuckles delightedly.
Damn, Bonnie, you must have been one hell of a waitress.
Close up, Bonnie laughing, her eyes filled with tears. Clyde's hand wipes them away. Two-shot.
That's Clyde. That's my boy. That's Clyde.
He looks at her with love and delight, hugs her tightly.
Bonnie, the poem of Bonnie and Clyde.
The story.
The story of Bonnie and Clyde. Oh, child, you really did tell me that story.
He pulls her to him, his face inches away from hers, about to kiss her. She is waiting, expecting. Suddenly, he lets out one wild laugh almost into her mouth. He kisses her, she kisses back. They are chuckling and giggling. They grow more ardent. They pull back and laugh again. They begin to make love.
The exterior of the Arcadia Street ice cream parlor in the day. Bright afternoon. Camera across the street from an ice cream parlor. Eva's hand-packed ice cream. Large plate glass window fronts the store, and through it we can see the people inside seated at tables and booths. Prominent in our vision is Malcolm Moss, seated facing camera. He is seated across from another man, but we see him from the back.
Malcolm is obviously doing a lot of talking and then some hard listening, gesticulating and looking perturbed or disturbed. After a bit of this, he rises from the table and begins walking toward the door. The other man rises and turns. We now see that it is Frank Hammer. Malcolm and Hammer come into the come out onto the sidewalk, squinting in the sunlight. Malcolm mimes some social pleasantries by way of saying goodbye, but Hammer's face shows no emotion of recognition of the gesture. He turns and walks away, walking out of the frame. Malcolm stands where he is, in front of the ice cream parlor. By the expression of it on his face, we can see that he is rather disturbed by what he has heard, and he is still grappling with the problem. Dissolve 2. Bonnie and Clyde. They lie where they lie where they were with one difference. They are now wrapped in the blanket. Clyde's pants are wadded up and tangled with the shoes at the base of the blanket.
Damn.
He ca- he he casts a sidelong glance to Bonnie and wanting some sort of sorry, overt overt reaction from her. She just smiling slightly. Clyde's underlying anxiety begins to surface.
Hey, listen, Bonnie. How you feel?
Fine.
I mean, you feel like you're supposed to feel after you've,
Just
well, that's good, ain't it? Reason I ask is, well, I figure it's a good idea to ask. I mean, how else did I tell if I did it the way?
hey, you done just perfect.
Clyde looks at her for the first time, tremendously relieved. He can see she means it. Now his buoyancy utterly unchained breaks through. I did, didn't I? I mean, I did. I really did. I did. I mean, this was my first time. It was just like rolling off a log. When it comes right down to it, it was easy. I mean, I didn't even have to try.
Lovingly laughing altogether, overwhelmed with himself, Clyde pulls Bonnie into him. He kisses her, wants to make love again, but then pulls back and keeps chattering at 60 miles a minute. He's he's waited 23 years to talk about this, and he's got the perfect audience. Dissolve 2, interior kitchen, Moss Farm, twilight. After dinner, there are 4 empty plates, but only CW and Malcolm in the kitchen. CW is scraping the bottom of a wilted Eva's hand-packed ice cream carton. Malcolm Malcolm studies his son's stop. Malcolm studies his son's quiet intensity in his direction for a moment, then moves very close, whispers, and when he speaks.
Boy, they expect you to go downtown with them tomorrow. Who? Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie and Clyde. Sure, I always go with them.
Malcolm thinks hard about this.
Better go then. Better go. When they get back in the car to come on home, don't get in with them. Why, Daddy? You just listen to your pa for once. Can't you do that? I'm your daddy. I'm your kin, not Clyde. Well, what should I tell them? I can't go back in the car with you.
Malcolm is ready to kill. His son's obtuseness and his fear of Clyde is whipping him into quite a frenzy. A quiet frenzy.
You don't tell them nothing here. I made a deal and got you off with a couple of years. Made a deal with who, Daddy?
Malcolm hauls off, whacks CW across the top of his head with the flat of his hand, then momentarily holds his hand over CW's mouth.
Law, just don't get back in that car. Whatever you do, don't let on to them, you hear?
CW suddenly smiles as if he knew something.
You think them laws are gonna catch Bonnie and Clyde in town?
CW returns to the ice cream cart and Malcolm lets him, figuring he better find out what he can.
What do you think, Clarence? They ain't gonna catch him, no matter whether I let on or not. Maybe. You just be off in the streets in that town where you go get in the car. Nobody catches Clyde. Clyde's got sense, don't you know that, Daddy? Nobody catches Clyde.
Malcolm knows better, but for just a moment he stares at his son, fearing that maybe CW, for all his limitations, has a sense about Clyde's sense. CW has finished with a carton and crumples it, licking the last remnants of cream off his fingers. Interior bedroom, Moss Farm, night. Bonnie and Clyde's bedroom, the middle of the night. Both are wide awake, lying on opposite sides of the double bed. Both are staring into the night, disquiet.
Bonnie, will you marry me?
There is a silent gasp from Bonnie, a barely perceptible stiffening. Then she talks in a voice falsely formal, still staring up at the ceiling. How could I do that, Clyde? You know it's impossible. We'd have to go to a justice of the peace, and the justice of the peace is a lawman. We couldn't even take out a license.
Hey now, you sound like you've been giving it some thought on your own.
Oh no, I never give it a thought. I haven't thought about it at least 10 times a day. I haven't thought about it every minute of my life since I met you.
She flings herself violently across the bed and buries herself into Clyde's chest. Her knees drawn up, her head tucked down into him, her body shaking with sobs. Bonnie, are you crying, honey? Bonnie nods yes and slowly gets control over her tears.
Clyde, why do you want to marry me?
I'm gonna make an honest woman out of you. Bonnie's silent.
Clyde, what would you do? What would you do? Would you do it if some miracle happened and we could walk out tomorrow morning and start all over again, clean, with no record, with nobody after us?
Clyde thinks about it for a minute. Well, I guess I'd do it all different. First off, I wouldn't live in the same state where we pull our jobs. We'd live in one state and stay clean there. When we wanted to take a bank, we'd go to another state and suddenly he realizes that he has said the worst thing he could have. That it was not the answer Bonnie wanted to hear. He looks down at her, his voice anxious. Bonnie? She's silent. Hey, Bonnie. And she doesn't answer. With the exterior of the roadside early morning, we see Malcolm jacking up the back wheel of his pickup truck, which is parked on the side of the road in a wooded area. Street in Arcadia, where cars park, is Bonnie and Clyde walking toward the car, carrying big bags of groceries and supplies put inside them. What happened to CW?
He stopped off at that hardware store to get light bulbs for his daddy.
Clyde opens the door of the driver's seat and sits down. Interior of the car, Arcadia Street in the day. Boy, my feet are sweating. Takes off his shoes.
You planning to drive with your shoes off?
Sure, why not? He reaches in his shirt pocket and takes out his sunglasses. As he goes to put them on, one of the lenses falls out. Damn. Puts them on.
You gonna wear them?
Sure, drive one eye shut. Bonnie gets in the car, rummages around in one of the bags, and pulls out something wrapped in tissue paper. She unwraps it and puts it up on the dashboard, displaying it. It is a little porcelain shepherdess holding a crook in her hand, worth about 30 cents.
Oh, isn't that the prettiest thing, hon? Just look here. You can see every little fingernail on her hands.
She shows him. It's a pretty thing, honey. And Clyde turned on the radio. And hillbilly music. Little church in the valley. He beats time on the steering wheel, getting a little impatient. Bonnie puts her shepherdess away and begins looking into the grocery sack.
We got any peaches? I sure could go for a peach right now.
She burrows in the bag, comes out with a peach, takes a big bite. The juice drips down the side of her mouth. She looks beautiful. Why don't we do it tomorrow?
Do what?
Tomorrow's Sunday, ain't it? We could drive all night and be on that golf course tomorrow morning.
You sure you feel up to it?
Yeah, why not? Where's that boy? He gone too long?
He'll be here. You take a bite, hon.
It's taking too long. Will something happen?
Nothing happened.
Let's go take a look, see what's keeping him. Not delighted at all.
Not too delighted with the chore, Bonnie goes off. We remain with Clyde, getting anxious. The music plays on. Bonnie comes back hurriedly, now anxious herself. He ain't there. Clyde jumps into action, slams his door.
Come on, let's go.
Bonnie gets in. They drive off.
The interior of the store, close up a CW of the day. Hiding inside a store, peering out through a curtained window at them driving away. His expression is disturbed, his face half in shadow.
Exterior road day. Bonnie and Clyde's car coming down the road. Camera sees from Clyde's point of view. Malcolm standing in the road, waving him down. The pickup truck, its back jacked up, is parked beside him on the shoulder of the road. Interior car day. What's wrong?
I don't know. Exterior of the road. Clyde reaches the spot. Pulls off the road, stops the car. He gets out. Talks to the old man. Bonnie stays in the car. Suddenly, a truck loaded with chickens comes riding down the road from the opposite direction. Hammer sees it from a long way away and realizes that he cannot afford to let anything pass between him and his quarry. He decides the time is now. He leaps up from the trench and yells at Clyde, "Barrow!" And the old man dives under his truck to hide the shooting stars. We see the chicken truck, two men in the front seat. They see ahead of them in an incredible shooting match in terror. They jam on the brakes and leap out of the truck. They run as fast as they can into the meadow, away from the trouble. The gunfight takes just seconds, during which Law fires 8-7 shots at Bonnie and Clyde, giving them absolutely no chance. The sound is rapid, deafening. At no point in the gunfight do we see Bonnie and Clyde in motion. We see, instead, two still photographs cut into the sequence. One of Clyde half out of the car, taking careful dead aim with his gun, just as he did in the teaching scene. One of Bonnie in terror, a pack of cigarettes in her hand, clutched tight, looking as fragile and beautiful as she can be. Sk- sk- sk-
The noise stops at once. Utter silence. It has become a massacre. Bonnie and Clyde never had a chance to return to gunfire. We see the car, a complete shambles. We never see Bonnie and Clyde dead, though. For a moment, we discerned their bodies slumped in the car. The camera pulls above the car until it is on a level with opposite side of the road. Then, suddenly, the 6 lawmen stand up in the trench. On the faces of the 5 deputies, horror and shock at what they have just done. Hammer, however, registers no emotion. His face is a blank. He lights a cigarette. Slowly, slowly, the 5 men begin to edge closer to the car to see the result. Music, the wild country breakdown music, begins on the soundtrack.
Before
Before they
they
reach
reach the car, camera swings away from them, past them, and zooms out and above into the meadow where the 2 truck drivers are standing, tiny, distant figures. The truck drivers begin to walk toward the camera, coming back to the road to see what happened. They get closer and closer to the camera until they have reached a middle distance, and as they continue to walk at us, it is ska, 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 ska. The end. We cut the black.
oh, was I supposed to say the end?
Well, I was hoping you would.
Oh well.
Yay! Big hand.
The end. I usually
Great job.
I
Great
usually
job.
I usually say ta-da,
Ta-da!
ta-da.
Oh my God! I had like one text message after another coming in just now from a few people, but I hope that wasn't coming through on my mic. Good
No, didn't
night.
hear none.
Mm. Well, you did great. Awesome.
The part I was laughing about is that damn thing you got up there that's waving at me.
What's that?
Whatever that thing is, that cat with that arm waving at
Oh, yeah,
me.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I couldn't look at
That was
what
funny.
I was doing. So I couldn't
Hey,
read the
Nez,
things.
how you
It
doing?
kept waving at me.
Thank you,
It's like,
Kat.
stop.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. TWP Popcorn, Panay and SK Lee, how you doing? I hope you all enjoyed the show tonight. That was a 3-part series. Um, Blood Dragoon, welcome, welcome. Hey, Pixie Post. Ska, 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 ska. Well, I missed a whole bunch of comments. Yeah, Beverly, how you doing? Jonica Tingle, Tingle, Tingle. Ska, 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 ska. The vintage hippie, hippie, hippie. The vintage hippie, hippie, hippie. Tingle, tingle, tingle. Yeah, thank everybody out there. Ska, 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 ska. Y'all did so good in the chat, didn't they, Izzy?
Jonica was Jonica was coming in with the info, you know, about
Mhm.
Bonnie and Clyde, their ages, and
Yeah.
she was giving us background during it.
Um. Yeah. Let's go ahead and end the stream. I just got a text. I need to deal with something. So
Okay, go
yeah,
for
I'm
it.
glad we got through it and everything. It's awesome. Um.
Thanks, guys.
I'll get back with you later, Izzy. I need to run and deal with a few things real quick. And thanks everybody for coming. It was a great show tonight. I think everything went fantastic. Y'all stay tuned for Shawshank Redemption and Alice in Wonderland. No, excuse me. Not we did that already. Wizard of Oz and whatever else that you might suggest. But again, thank you, everybody. You guys have a great night, and we'll see you on the other side.